When we hear the word inheritance, what most often comes to mind are material things. Houses, property, money, jewelry, businesses. All these things can be passed down from one generation to another. Rich or poor, dads instinctively wish to pass something on to subsequent generations. And while things which have been worked for, saved for, and cared for can take years to accrue value, what most fathers don't realize is that they are bequeathing an inheritance to their children every day. And, unlike houses or money, this inheritance surpasses the finitude of everyday life. Each morning, when Dad gets up, does he set his hands to work? Is he cheerful and good-natured around his family, even during times of stress? How does he treat Mama? Is he faithful to the house of God? Does he support the work of God with both his finance and his labor? Is he behind the man of God in his life? Every word, every decision, and every reaction are all observed and internalized by a father's most precious treasure of all, his children.
Without ambition, one starts nothing. Without work, one finishes nothing. The prize will not be sent to you. You have to win it. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
We dread going to work, and we can't wait to punch out at the end of the day. We rejoice in days off, and our work-to-play mentality lives for the weekend and values leisure and entertainment above all else. But against this embedded ideology stand scriptures like, "He that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster." Proverbs 18:9. The Bible also makes it clear that men would provide for themselves and their families by the sweat of their brow. It's an indisputable truth. Men who work hard please God. Yet, in a society that has become increasingly idle, how does a daddy pass along the revelation of hard work to his children? By working. The very act of getting up and going to work every day sends an incredible message to his family. They feel secure. They feel loved. They know that Daddy is taking care of things, no matter how difficult life may be at the moment. Little hands are clumsy and inept. It's much easier to do a chore yourself than to teach your son to do it. But wise fathers know that idle 3-year-old hands become idle 16-year-old hands. And so the teaching begins. But what are we working for? Is it to have bigger houses, faster cars, and fuller bank accounts? Or is the end goal, the ultimate goal, to see the work of God move forward? The first generation of Rock Church members laid a sure foundation for subsequent generations to build on. Solid cornerstones of courage, consistency, and tireless effort. They lifted the vision, placed it squarely on their shoulders, and resolutely marched into the future.
It was mostly church members that built the building. Everybody kind of had an expertise in some area that they could do. And then the ones that didn't, we just got in and helped the people that knew what they were doing. I remember they needed some drywall hung, and they were having a lot of things that need to be done at one time, and they were kind of short on help. Sister Woggy got a crew together, I think, to hang the drywall. And brother Dude had to come in and finish it after it was hung, and there was nails sticking out. He had to kind of go in and redo it before he could do the finishing on it.
Everybody had enthusiasm, but there wasn't a lot of professionals. It's just everybody wanted to do whatever they could, and they just pick up a hammer and do it, whether it was right or not. We knew, we really don't know what we're doing, but this building is going to go up. I'm sure there's all kinds of mistakes that were made, but we didn't feel like it was anything but fun.
Yeah, I can remember with Wilson, I'd say to Wilson, I don't know if I'll be glad to help, but I don't know if I can know how to do it. And he said, oh, you can, you know how to do it. Just get in there and do it. You can do it. He's pretty good at giving you confidence, even if you weren't doing it right,
Yeah.
he kind of thought you were because he was so positive about it all.
In the beginning, they were a small group, just 6 members, but it was led by a man with a huge vision. And as our numbers grew, so did our plans, and soon, work was the order of the day.
If you be faithful, you will have that honor that comes from God. His Spirit will say in your hearts, well done, good and faithful servants. Adam Clark.
Faithfulness is one of the most beautiful words in the English language. It conjures up images of consistent, unfaltering commitment and constant reliability. Faithfulness is not flashy. It does not parade about with the fanfare of popularity or seek attention. Faithfulness just is. It is consistent execution of the everyday, each day. Faithfulness is what makes us go to work. It is why you faithful fathers turn off the alarm and roll out of bed every morning. It's what pushes you into the shower and out the door. Your commitment to God, your family, and yourself. There isn't much strategy involved in being faithful. It can be perceived as plodding, just going about your days keeping your promises. But the beauty of faithfulness is that it is completely sustainable. Once deeply ingrained in an individual, faithfulness becomes second nature. Their go-to response to all of life's situations, both simple and complex. And in today's fragmented world, a God-ordained family, one blessed with a faithful father, shines with an incandescent beauty.
The teaching of Sister Wilson, she was so mindful of praying with your kids, reading the stories of God's Word and keeping them involved in God, valuing the house of God, the standards of God, and faithfulness to the house of God. It was embedded there in all of us to have that kind of standard, have that kind of value in your home, and pray with your children, be faithful to God, take care of your babies.
This generation of rockers raised one of the most powerful groups of young people we've ever seen. This is largely due to the faithful fathers who caught the vision and passed it down to their children. It is no coincidence that the boys and girls who played and slept and ate on the church building site, in their turn, raise kids who are also all in for the work of God.
The happiest moments of my life have been the few which I have passed at home in the bosom of my family. Thomas Jefferson.
The definition of a family can be very fluid. There are many ways to describe a family, as there are family units. Each home is unique, and there are no hard and fast rules for how it should be run. God ordained the family with one mother and one father. Together, they were to deliver and nurture their children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. So, if we have a family with Daddy at the helm, what does that look like? Does he reign as Lord and Master? Do all bow to his wishes and shake in their boots when he exercises his authority? The Word admonishes men to love their wives, to be patient with their children, to be kind, peaceable, and strong. And great dads know that audible volume does not equal authority. that demanding respect is not nearly as effective as earning it. They realize that winning and keeping the hearts of their wives and children is an ongoing proposition, something they must work on every day. They understand how powerful a heartfelt apology is, and how deeply their wives crave their attention and affection, and they lead in that most powerful of all ways, by example. They aren't perfect, but they strive to be the best they can be. And their reward for all of their work and faithfulness? It's a family as God intended, with a clear structure and its subsequent blessings. And no matter how their family is run, no matter who works outside the home or who stays home, who handles the checkbook and pays the bills, or who cooks supper or does the laundry, there is a deep, constant joy that resonates throughout daily life. Good days, bad days. A healthy family doesn't just survive, it thrives.
Back then we were in West Sac. Every Sunday we'd go over to this old cheap place to eat, all of us. It seemed like you could eat for $1.99 or something. It was Chinese food. It was bad, but we'd all, back then, whatever we did, we all did it together because it was nobody but us, you know.
Small group.
I mean, we've had some gut laughing times. I'm talking about laughing so hard.
Over nothing.
This third generation of Rock Church members is raising its children in a very different world from the first. In their lifetime, they have seen the advent of the internet and cell phones, and is watching society's continued downward spiral into fragmented chaos. There are a plethora of distractions for today's family. It requires a concerted effort to buck the rising tide of busyness and inward focus and reconnect with your family every day. No matter the changes we are seeing in the world around us, God has not changed. The same principles of courage, consistency, faithfulness, hard work, honesty, boldness, and tenacity still apply.
Brother Wilson was for our generation and how to live your life when you're young, and yet could speak to any age. And Brother Young understood where Brother Wilson had been and honored that, and didn't take away from Brother Wilson, but he had enough that God gave him on his own that he can lead his generation in a way that's totally different, but yet much the same.
Rock Church, keep your family in the house of God. Nothing can take the place of the church as the central hub of your life. Like the generations before you, support it with your time, your energy, your finance, and your talents. A great father understands that unless he teaches his family the importance of the Missio Dei, he will leave nothing of eternal value to his children. But an overcoming life, lived clean and whole in a dark and murky world, connections to God and to his people, and the deep satisfaction of a life lived in service to the kingdom and to others, these are an eternal inheritance. They will not rust. They will not rot. No one can steal them. So go ahead, Dad. Leave them your house, your money, and your boat. But don't neglect the truly valuable eternal inheritance. It's the only one that really counts.